Come to Cape Town, the city by the seaside. You'll meet a lot of friends, have lots of fun. Cape Town's number one. Sunshine, beaches, vineyards, the good times, say hello there. Under Table Mountain, big and blue, Cape Town welcomes you. Welcome to Cape Town, let's see you smiling. Put on your dancing shoes, Cape Town welcomes you. It's summer and it's New Year, we're so glad that you here. So come along, oh friend, happy days again. Cape Town's around the bend. Oh, welcome to Cape Town. Oh, enjoy the party. Come on and have some fun. Cape Town's number one. Welcome to Cape Town. Let's see you smiling. Put on your dancing shoes. Cape Town welcomes you. Dina Kanakina. Dina, Dina, oh. Dina Kanakina. Dina, Dina, oh. Oh, oh. Kana, 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 kanakina. Dina, Dina, oh. Kana, 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 kanakina. Dina, Dina, oh. Welcome to Cape Town. Oh, enjoy the party. Come on and have some fun.
We spent 3 nights at this wonderful hotel, the Southern Sun. It was the last 3 nights of our group tour before we started about the next 2 weeks traveling on our own. Both the New York Times and the Daily Telegraph agree with the song. Cape Town is number one. In 2014, Cape Town was listed as the best place in the world to visit by both the New York Times and the Daily Telegraph. I may not agree with that, but it is a very interesting city to visit. The city has a long coastline on the Atlantic Ocean, which includes False Bay. Table Mountain dominates the city from the east. The South African National Anthem. Waiting for dinner, but we had something much better than a hamburger. We're going to finish our day by listening to some street performers whose only pay is the money that they receive from tips. It is Wednesday, October 12th, the 16th day of our trip, and it will be an especially busy day. Because it was so foggy at Table Mountain yesterday, we're going to visit Cape Point today and to go up Table Mountain afterwards. Hopefully, we will not be as rushed as the Griswolds were on their European vacation. We are starting our day with a beautiful drive along the Atlantic coast, headed for the Cape of Good Hope, which is part of the very spread out Tabletop Mountain National Park. This map shows the Cape area, and the red line marks the route that we took on the way there. It was about 50 miles and took us about 3.5 hours to arrive at the Cape of Good Hope, with numerous stops along the way. Along the route, we will drive along Chapman's Peak Drive. The drive is an engineering marvel as it hugs the near vertical face of the mountains, linking Hoot Bay to Nordhook. It is only about 5.5 miles long. Coming up, a couple videos I took off the internet of Chapman's Drive. The first one is a drive, and the second one is an aerial view. Chapman's Peak is world-renowned for having the most breathtaking scenery. The winding road snakes alongside the pristine Atlantic Ocean and connects the towns of Hoyt Bay and Nordhook. Better known as Chappie, the road was officially opened on May 6, 1922. But who was the road named after? Many thought John Chapman was a brave mountaineer or a famous governor. In actual fact, he was the captain's mate of an English ship. The ship docked in what is now known as Hoyt Bay in 1607, the year Jamestown was settled, and the skipper rowed ashore to find provisions. He stumbled upon what was to become Chapman's Drive and named it Chapman's Chaussee, and the name stuck. When preliminary surveys were conducted to see if a road could be built to link the southern suburbs to the Cape, the conclusion was never. With petrified steep cliffs, deep ravines, and water flowing from the mountains, the terrain was considered impenetrable. But the project went ahead by order of the Cape Commission nonetheless, and took 7 years to complete at a cost of £20,000. Much maintenance work has been carried out since it opened and still continues today. On a windy Cape Town day, you can forget trying to drive it because of falling rock. There are stops along the way to picnic, hiking routes that take you to glorious waterfalls and views that go on forever. You can be forgiven for spending hours looking at the views from the lookout points. When you cross over to Nordhook, the endless white beaches and beautiful waters will make you stop in amazement every single time. And what you see before you as you drive along is a special old road that can't compare to any other the world over. Hey, look, far down at Norhook Beach, we see two riders. Just a few days from now, Ruth and I will be riding the same beach. Following our drive along Chapman's Peak, we had a short visit to the Cape of Good Hope and then returned by a different route back to Table Mountain in Cape Town. We had went there the day before, and this is what we saw. Because of the heavy fog, we combined the next day with a return visit to Table Mountain after seeing the Cape of Good Hope. Ruth and I returned to the Cape later, so I will combine the two visits there on the next video. This is a map of the very spread out Table Mountain National Park, which runs from Table Mountain in Cape Town from the north to the Cape of Good Hope in the south. The light orange areas are all part of the park. The park is 23 years old. It was established for protecting the natural environment of the Table Mountain chain, and in particular, the rare fynbos vegetation. The park is divided into three main areas: the Table Mountain section in the north, which we have just arrived at, the Silver Mine Toki section in the middle, and the Cape Point section in the south. It covers an area of 85 square miles, or 54,400 acres. As you can see from the pictures, the fog has completely disappeared from yesterday. It reminds me of a movie title with Barbra Streisand. On a clear day, you can see forever. The large cable cars were very interesting and unique. They turned around on a 360-degree circle on the way up and on the way down.
As we will be moving up, the floor will be rotating, so please do not hold on.
Okay, I don't know about rotating. Breeze.
That's a little different.
You can stop now.
Stop rotating.
Well, you can tell by the sound of the people they were having a great time, enjoying what South Africa calls their #1 tourist attraction. host family. They had a young child, and this lady's mother was there for dinner. We had some great conversation talking about their government, their educational system, how COVID destroyed the economy, and baseball. The male host, back in the late 80s, played on the South African national baseball team and mentioned he had played against an American team that had Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson on it. It is Thursday, October 13th, the 17th day of our trip. It is sort of the last day of our Colette tour. Why is it sort of our last day? Because the group had the last day to be on their own, but we would meet for one last meal at a fancy restaurant for the evening meal. We spent our day on the hop-on, hop-off bus, the majority of which we spent at Christenbush Gardens. As you can see, Table Mountain is fogged in again today. We were certainly there on the right day yesterday. We have arrived at Kirstenbosch Gardens. Kirstenbosch is the flagship of the South African National Biodiversity Institute. It was established in 1913 to conserve and promote the indigenous flora of southern Africa. Kirstenbosch is internationally acclaimed as one of the great botanical gardens of the world. Situated on the eastern slopes of Cape Town's magnificent Table Mountain, the estate covers over 1,400 acres, includes a cultivated garden and a nature reserve. The developed garden displays collections of southern African plants, including many rare and endangered species. Theme gardens include the Fynbos Gardens, Forest Braille Trail and Fragrance Garden, Useful Plants Garden, and Waterwise Garden.
They sang a hymn that morning, which was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. It's never left me. I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of His voice is so sweet. The birds hush their singing, and the melody that He gave to me within my heart is ringing, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, other has ever known. I stay in the garden with him, though the night all around me is falling, and he bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. None other has ever known.